Hello everyone and welcome to another high-elo game of Age of Empires. Today we discovered something called baby-led weaning, and after we spent an hour cleaning up the biggest food mess I've ever seen in my life, I'm happy, calm, and relaxed, and finally sitting down to watch FreakinAndy playing as the Khmer or the Khmer in orange take on Hera playing as the Poles in blue. Now, while the players heard their herdables explore their immediate enclosed off surroundings, get it? Because we're on the map called Enclosed. We'll take a look at what that map looks like in a second and try to get their butts up to Feudal, hopefully Castle and Imperial Age ASAP. Why don't we take an opportunity to look at the Civ matchup we will be watching today? Now, the Khmer are a civilization that focuses on some of the heaviest hitting units in the game. Their Scorpions come with extra range and can be upgraded to shoot a second bolt. Their battle elephants, no, not these guys. I guess the domesticated and militarized version of these guys move 10% faster and can be upgraded to hit even harder with a +3 attack. And their unique unit is quite possibly one of the hardest, most annoying units to deal with head on. I'm talking about the ballista elephant, which is exactly as it sounds. It's an elephant unit with a giant ballista mounted on its back. And by the way, that ballista, like the Scorpion that has extra range, can be upgraded to shoot a second bolt. Now, in order to take advantage of these bonuses, these upgrades, these super duper ridiculously powerful units, the Khmer have to get their butts up to Castle and Imperial ASAP with a lot of food in the bank. So to do this, they do come with a few cool features. I mean, am I crazy? I feel like the deer are always so much wilder than all the other animals, even though I can't imagine the ones and zeros and the programming between the deer and the ibex and the gazelles and all that is any different. I just feel like the deer, they're always so rambunctious. Now, like I was saying, the Khmer need to get their butts up ASAP with a lot of food in the bank. So a few cool features to start with. They don't need any structures to go up to the next stage, which means as long as you've got the resources, as long as you've got the food, the gold, whatever it is, you can go up to the next age. Second, once you reach an age, all buildings are available to you from that age. There is no such thing as a prerequisite for the Khmer, which means, for example, if you want to build a stable in Feudal, you don't need a barracks. If you want to build a siege workshop in Castle, you don't need a blacksmith. And lastly, Khmer farmers don't need to bring food to a mill or a town center. As long as they're working on a farm, it automatically adds food to the top left of our screen here to the Khmer stockpile, so they can place farms literally anywhere. If FreakinAndy wanted to, he could place a farm literally here in the corner, although why he would do so with a few of these delicious looking berries is anyone's guess. Now, lastly, Khmer villagers are also harder to raid because they can actually garrison inside houses, and once the danger passes away, they can get back to work, which kind of explains why FreakinAndy has a house right next to his mill. In case Hera tries to snipe this villager, FreakinAndy's villager will just run into this house. Now, a big caveat with that is that, oh, look at him bringing on a bunch of oxen, water buffaloes in this case, yakety yaks. One big caveat is villagers don't actually regenerate HP in here. They're just kind of safe. And if they're in here, they regenerate HP, but not in the houses. Now, taking a look to the immediate southeast of the Khmer Khmer base, we've got Hera playing as the Poles, a civilization that focuses very much on their cavalry. Did you have a big lunch? Do you need something light for dinner? Well, Pole scout line units come with an attack bonus against archers and can be upgraded to do blast damage, or rather trample damage in the case of horses, which can be very helpful in the late stage of the game because Poles are one of the only two civs in the game who have their hussars replaced with winged hussars, which are already tankier and stronger than normal hussars and come with an attack bonus against gunpowder units and an even bigger attack bonus against monks. Now, if you want to dive into the heavy hitters right away, Pole Knights, Cavaliers can be upgraded to cost a lot less gold, and by that I mean a lot less gold, from 75 to 30, so it does become much easier to spam these heavy units starting in Castle. Now, to provide backup for their cavalry units on the battlefield, the Poles can field their unique unit, the Obuch. This is a tanky, well-armored infantry unit whose attack actually reduces both the melee and pierce armor of its opponents by 1 with each swipe of its ludicrously large and comically hilarious warhammer. Think Stormbreaker from the Marvel comics. Oh, are we gonna have our first kill here? Who's gonna die first? Their HP is going down at the exact same time. Oh, Hera's scout. I thought we were gonna have a murder-suicide. Is such a thing possible in Age of Empires? In any event, lucky and happy that I caught that on the map, as Hera with 3 HP absconds. And now his scout, if we know Hera, is going to be on relic duty, and in 20 seconds his line of sight is going to increase significantly, which is going to make relic scouting duty a lot easier. Now, to support the production of their food and gold cavalry units, pole stone miners also generate gold. Their farmers have access to a unique structure called the Folwark, which replaces their mill and automatically adds 8% of a farm's value. Take a look at this, seated within this radius to their coffers immediately. And by the way, also provides 5 population space like a house. And lastly, their villagers, like their Viking cousins to the north, are harder to raid because starting in Feudal Age, these villagers do regenerate HP. Those are the 2 civilizations. Let's take a look at the map because, as I mentioned, we are enclosed on enclosed, where you start with what looks like an apple-shaped forest that, 2 bites, one from either side. Or it might look, if you're into Star Wars, like the Rebel Alliance logo or insignia. Looks like a bunch of different things to a bunch of different people. This is like the Rorschach test of forests here, but everyone starts in a little bit of a circular nook. We'll see if the players decide to wall this off. It looks like they are starting to already, with a lot of resources strewn about the map. Now, a lot of food sources, but a lot of resources nonetheless. I mean, just take a look at the mini map and see how much gold, see how much stone there is all over the map. So a map that very much inures to the benefit of civilizations that have either berry picking bonuses, or like the Portuguese, for example, or the Poles, for example, who have stone mining bonuses. We'll see how the players decide to expand. They usually expand immediately outwards, as we saw FreakinAndy has already done from the very first minute of the game. Hera moves in yet again. Now we are in feudal. His scout has more line of sight. Both players, 3 military, 25 villagers. Looks like FreakinAndy, or rather Hera, was housed there for a second, but this house finished fortuitously quickly. And now take a look. Once he finishes seeding this farm, 8% of 175 will go up to the top right of your screen. And 1, 2, 3 right now. There you go. And then the remainder of the farm. Oh, never mind. He already researched Horse Scholar, so it's a little bit more than the 175. And then the remaining 92% is left in the farm. There is construction happening to the unit above me, and so I do apologize if you hear a drilling or hammering sound. I will try to remove those in the editing process. Hera steals a few yaks, sends them to explore. Was it the yak, or was it the scout that saw the relic? Not too sure. I think it was the scout. But FreakinAndy, he's back. He says, "You killed my scout. I am going to take my revenge." Pulls the spearman to the right. Okay, I thought he was going to use this scout to attack the villagers, but he saw that there's another spearman here. I don't know why he's so hesitant to engage into one spearman. I think he probably could with 4 scouts. And Hera's 3 HP scout dies immediately. Hera loses another scout. And now FreakinAndy leaves because the job has been freaking done. Ooh, or maybe not, the job is done. He's got... And look at that positioning out of FreakinAndy. Body blocking with the 2 healthier scouts so that the 2 weaker scouts can run away and have a few extra seconds of ahead time, lead time, whatever you want to call it. That was an absolutely fantastic move out of him. A big brain move, if I've ever seen one. And then he must have clicked back and seen that one of these scouts is dangerously low on HP, but Hera's brought 2 spearmen to the front. So the action, I suspect, is over. FreakinAndy will not engage into this army. Hera's going to have to chase for a while, and Hera sends the yaks back to their master in a very nice display of gamesmanship. Although what's not a nice display of gamesmanship is another scout leering over here to the right side, trying to get some vision, trying to get something done. And I love that FreakinAndy is just plopping down houses next to his, what do we want to call them? Economic zones. This one getting food, this one getting gold. I just absolutely love that he is going to be able to run into these houses. But kill count has been equalized. And take a look. When is the last time we saw a house that has a 0 out of 5 garrisoning space? And he's going to have to be a little careful here. Okay, so he's creating a wall off, which against these melee units should do fantastically. But he's got to be careful with his army because he's got 2 scouts. He's heading up to castle about 30 seconds or so behind his opponent. Maybe 40 or so seconds behind his opponent. He does have an extra villager. FreakinAndy's idle TC time, by the way, reaching a minute. Hera's 14 seconds. So Hera doing better on the idle time with his TC, keeping his TC active. Has FreakinAndy, he must have skipped Loom, right? Yeah, he skipped Loom. I don't think Hera skipped Loom. No, Hera got it. I was wondering why the idle time didn't match the villager count, didn't match the difference in going up to Castle Age. Maybe I'm overthinking it, but I figured that Andy skipped Loom here. Palisade walls being destroyed, stable being placed. By the way, stable already up. You know what you don't see for our Khmer? Our Khmer? A barracks. Thanks to that super cool features. I just love, by the way, that the developers, when they introduce new civs, not that the Khmer are a new civ, but you guys know what I mean. When they introduced civilizations all the time, the new ones. By the way, Hera's really making himself at home here with 2 monasteries. I love that they always tinker with various features of the game. Like lately, the Georgians being able to repair structures for 25% less, fewer resources. The Armenians getting a free relic. There's all these little features that the developers can play with. You know, there's the standard ones of this guy gets more armor, this guy gets more attack. But it's pretty cool when you see all the diversity of features. And by the way, Hera's in here now, but he meets a very hastily put up palisade wall. And he has no choice. He has to engage. He has to distract this army for as long as he can until his scouts become light cav. And I don't know if moving out with your villagers right now is the best move, with Hera literally breathing down your neck. He's got the gold. He's training 2 monks. But FreakinAndy, undisturbed, unperturbed, expanding to the back. And like I said, because there's so many, I didn't say, but I said in the previous game, because there's so many resource patches strewn about this map, there's a lot of really good locations for town centers. Food, stone, farming space. There's a lot of locations now. Uh-oh, wait a second. Andy's abandoned these 5 villagers to their fate. There's nothing these guys can do. FreakinAndy's in a bit of a tough spot right now. He's getting forging. Hera already has forging. I don't know why Hera seems to think 2 monks are going to be safe against light cavalry, which again, I don't know how I keep saying again, which need 2 love taps to kill a monk. 1, 2, no. Where did I thought he was attacking the monk. Another monk pops out. FreakinAndy goes right after him, gets all 3 monks. And by the way, now the villagers, get the hell out of here. Get the hell out of here. This is your moment. This is your chance. And they do. They run away. And of course, they're going to the town center. Brilliant move out of FreakinAndy. Unfortunately for him, has sacrificed a lot of units and actually his entire army. That being said, getting 3 monks for a bunch of trash units is never a bad idea. And he has 2 town centers up now. Again, fantastically placed. Food, stone, gold, trees, food. Anything and everything. Hera is very much committed. Okay, I was about to say to a 1 town center aggression. Now this I'm not too sure about. I thought maybe he would place it next to the gold if he wanted a town center in the forward position. But our Khmer now has knights. By the way, I would be remiss if I didn't mention Morley's Khmer build. If you want to pump out knights, and I do apologize, Morley, I always do forget if it's at the 12, 11, or 13. It's between 11 and 13 minutes to get your ass up to Castle Age and to start pumping out more and more knights, or rather knights, period. Monk dies. I mean, this is just absolutely fantastic. That's 400 gold that has been wasted for our whole. And by the way, the Khmer are moving forward. They have husbandry. So we'll see how much damage. 500 gold, but he loses the scout line unit to a conversion. I'm sure he's not too upset about that. Is he training another one? No. So Hera getting a good amount of infrastructure damage done. The house, a few palisades, the stable, another house. But let's see what FreakinAndy can do here. Oh, mama, it looks like 4 villagers are already dead. Or maybe 3? 1. Oh, that's a spearman. Okay. I thought 4, then I looked at the bottom right of our screen. Now it's 4, now it's 5. The tiger even joins in here on the fight. It's going to be 6 in a second. It looks like Hera is killing villagers inside of Andy's base at the same time. Oh no, the pole has busted in, and now there is going to be mayhem on both sides of the map. We'll keep an eye on Hera's base with picture-in-picture. He hasn't been walled in here. It looks like Andy is trying to trap him in here, but Hera wisely keeping one scout in this general vicinity so that if Andy pops out any of these villagers to trap him in, that scout will absolutely wreck them. That being said, Hera's got to get out of here. This is not a spot where you want to lose how many 10 light cavalry units. He does end up losing one. And again, I don't know if you guys can hear the construction noise, but man, oh man, I am very sensitive to sound, and it just annoys me to no end when there is never-ending never-ending construction. If you guys remember my intro from about a month ago, yes, it is the exact same people doing the exact same construction they've been doing for the last month. And man, oh man, is it annoying, as it is annoying to lose yet another monk. Hera is just losing a lot of gold-intensive units, and now he's stuck in here. But will it be Watchmen style Rorschach where I'm not stuck in here with you, you're stuck in here with me? Or will he actually get something accomplished here? Now he's going full on eco with 2 extra town centers to the back. Looks like a spearman died here again, but what is Hera going to do with these 7 survivors? FreakinAndy is just taunting him now. Look at this. Come at me, bro, he says. And now he's going to try to lure Hera into the town center to take a fight here underneath 11 garrison villagers inside. Looks like Andy's aggression on the other side of the map is over. Looks like Hera's aggression on this side of the map is over. And so a good moment for us to kind of zoom out, get a big picture view of what's going on. Andy's ahead about 15% in the economy. He's also ahead 600% in the military, this being Hera's only military unit. Okay. Neither player having a castle at the moment. Neither player really caring about a castle, except I can say FreakinAndy with 10 villagers on stone. Seems like he wants to get a castle up much quicker than Hera, who's got 1, now 2 villagers on stone. And more stables. I mean, anytime the pole plops down stables, you have to be so careful. You have to keep an eye out for a castle. You have to keep an eye out for that Schlachter privilege upgrade that makes their Nightline units cost 30 gold instead of 75. That being said, their winged hussars are no easy prey either at the late stages of the game with frickin' trample damage, Lakitic Legacy. The Poles, man oh man. I've said this before, I'll say it again and will continue to say it. They're one of the most synergistically cohesive civilizations in the game. Their features kind of lead into one another over and over again. Where, you know, for example, you have stone miners getting stone for your castle. At the same time, they're generating gold so that when your castle does come up, you've got the gold for Schlachter privilege, which for what it does is not an expensive upgrade. I believe it only costs 300 gold. So at a ratio of 3 to 1, you need to not mine only 900 stone to get Schlachter for free. Let me say that again. You only need to mine a castle and a half's worth of stone to get your best, most powerful upgrade for free. And so you have your stone miners generating gold, the castle goes up, like Schlachter goes up, and then at the same time, you have your stables, they start pumping out those cheaper knights, you have full works, which allow you to gather 8% of a farm's value immediately, and then you start pumping out those knights. Now remember, Schlachter doesn't affect their food cost, only the gold cost, which is why this full work feature is incredibly important. And like I said, that's why I think the Poles are really one of the most synergistic. They're almost like the Celts, you know, the quicker lumberjacks that have more wood for siege, which fires faster, etc., etc. For now, though, we're not seeing really much of anything, although I'm seeing an orange castle being plopped down to the left of Hera's very aggressively placed town center. What I am seeing is a whole bunch of Polish light cav sacrificing their lives to cripple the economy of FreakinAndy. Hera has 29 villager, 30 villager kills at the moment. 32, and he brings in another contingent of 4. Light cav, what are the upgrades? +1, +2. Andy's stuck at a +1, +1. Now, the funny thing is, despite the Poles being a cavalry-centric civilization with that ridiculous Schlachter privileges, I believe the Khmer upgrades are much better for their cavalry. I think the Poles are missing the last armor upgrade. Yeah, they're missing, I can never remember the name. Plate barding armor. They're missing plate barding armor. So if it ever came down to it, all of that is an Imperial Age upgrade, and I would argue perhaps that the Poles in Imperial Age will outdo whatever the Khmer can throw at them cavalry-wise, because the Khmer also don't have paladins, much like the Poles, and they're fully upgraded Hussars versus winged Hussars. I don't know who wins that battle. By the way, an elephant unit with a giant ballista mounted on its back is slowly waddling around Hera's base, keeping a very close eye on anything that pops out of these stables. Now, he must be wondering, why is my opponent going so heavy on the light cav? Is this all some kind of ploy? Hera, by the way, keeping his castle very hidden. I think Hera's playing some kind of game here where he's trying to convince FreakinAndy that he is going light cav. And he very may well be going heavy on the light cav. But I think he might transition to Knights and Cavaliers soon. I shouldn't say soon, at some point. Chunky boys get targeted by the monk. One monk tries to play a little bit of cat and mouse with him as the second attempts to convert. There is devotion for our Khmer, so his elephants are going to be a little harder to convert. It's like Andy's going to try to poke in with 2 knights again. We'll keep an eye on those. But I wonder if that's what... Yeah, that's exactly what Hera is doing. He is trying to convince FreakinAndy that he is going heavy on the light cav. Now, I don't know if that makes any difference for a ballista elephant, given how chunky and powerful that unit is. But I think Hera might transition. Yeah, 18 on gold, 50 on food. He might transition to Cavaliers if he goes up to Imperial. His aggressive town center is down. He's got one backup, one to the back here. He is going up to his 5th town center is our Pole. Only 3 at the moment, with a 4th being built for our Khmer, whose economy is now 50% smaller. So even though he went into Castle Age minutes ago with a clear lead in villagers, he is now down 44 villagers against a civilization that... here we go. That's what I thought. So Hera trying to do as much damage as he possibly can with the light cav. I don't know. Again, let me know what you think. Was it all just one big mind game to force his opponent into overreacting with light cavalry? And then he's going to swarm with knights? They are fully upgraded for castle. We've got 3 obos somewhere. I'm assuming they're in the castle very slowly making their way. Where are they? Okay, they're down here dealing with these knights. The Obuch, not exactly the strongest unit, but is a unit that gets stronger as a battle continues, because again, every time he swipes that massive warhammer, the armor goes down and down and down. I love that FreakinAndy is creating a bit of a death ball here, and he is within the town center radius as well, so Hera's units are taking a lot of damage. Looks like Hera's trying to bust in through the northeast of the base yet again here, and the ballista elephants survive. More and more. This is a ridiculously expensive unit. This is going to be a absolute epic battle out of these 2 players if we're going to get to see Cavaliers and taking on a 180 resource unit, the ballista elephant. Oh no, the knights bust in. That's a lot of dead villagers. I mean, FreakinAndy's economy is being gutted. Okay, Hera catches 2 elephants on their own in the middle of nowhere, undefended. Oh, it looks like he tried to reinforce his knights there, but there was a house in the way, so he has to go the long way around. But oh my goodness, 24 and 5 and 2 makes what? 31 knights are chasing these ballista elephants. This is incredible. One of the most annoying and powerful units in the game is taking on these knights head on. The knights can die all the live long day, and even if FreakinAndy wins this, what the hell do you do against the Pole? He's got 62 villagers on food. Hera has more villagers on food than FreakinAndy has active villagers. 27 of them are idle. They are hiding in town centers, shooting, firing arrows as hard as possible, as hard as they can. He is converting a half-dead, basically dead knight. And this flow isn't stopping. 25 knights with 25 more on the menu and a castle drop. And he's gutted the central economy. Oh no. I mean, FreakinAndy looked like he was on par with Hera for a while, and now all of a sudden Hera is taking a massive lead. He is just everywhere. I'm going to zoom out. He's here to the left. He's here to the right. He's putting an outpost because he wants to catch any kind of villager retreat so he can kill it. Oh, and this isn't walled in. That's going to be a massacre of villagers, and the elephants are taking on knights yet again. As long as one body of knights can keep these elephants occupied, the rest of the knights to the left, to the bottom, are gonna have an absolute field day. And if ever there was a demonstration of why the hell you don't want your Pole opponent to get their butts up to castle and get Schlachter and start spamming knights, it is this game. Sorry, I'm not too sure why the game keeps glitching out for me towards the end, right as it ends. I don't know if I need to maybe update some parts of my computer or something, but in any event, wow, that was about as masterclass of a Pole game as we could have hoped for. Remember, like I said, the Khmer, the Khmer, they need to get their butts up to Castle and Imperial, not only as soon as possible to make use of their heavy-hitting units, but also with a lot of food in the bank. So what did our Pole do? I still think there was an element of mind games, but the more I think about it, the more I'm thinking that our Pole played this about as perfectly against the Khmer as possible. What did he do from the very early stages of Feudal and then Castle? Let's take a look at how many stables to see if if my suspicions are correct. He's got 11 stables. Okay, one of them is very defensively back home. So this guy was there to pump out some scouts, maybe get husbandry and bloodlines. The rest are all in the aggressive position. So what I think Hera did here, I mentioned how he went very heavy on the light cavalry. He used that to absolutely gut the economy of the Khmer. Take a look at the villager kill. Holy shit, 92 villager kills to 16. That is almost 6 times as many villager kills. And the Khmer, 100 food, 80 gold for their unique unit. They need to spam, if they want to spam Hussars and Imperial, need a lot of farms to do that. And so Hera, in the beginning, built the infrastructure needed with these stables, the 4 very forward ones with that town center that was here, in order to be able to kill as many villagers as possible. And once he crippled the Khmer economy enough, once the Khmer were on their knees, our Pole then activated Schlachter. Now, has Andy seen? No, he hasn't even seen the castle here. And wow, okay, so there was some element of mind games of placing this castle all the way back here, I think. It wasn't an accidental placement. Later he got the castle up here, but I think initially he wanted to hide Schlachter, and he wanted Andy thinking that he was going light cav all the live long day. Although, I mean, anytime you play against the Poles, it's like playing against the Burgundians, you know? There's always that sort of Damocles that's hanging over you. In the Burgundians' case, it's that infamous button, the revolution, where all of a sudden 200 military can show up at your front door. With the Poles, it's 200 knights, cavaliers can show up at your front door. So Hera did as much raiding as he thought was necessary to absolutely destroy the economy of his opponent. Now, there's always a bit of guesswork, right? He doesn't have the God's eye view that we do that tells him FreakinAndy is at half the economy that he is. And then once he got Andy, once he knocked him down a little bit, maybe to his knees like a boxer, you know, he knocked him down once. At the 6 or 7 count, Andy got back up, but Hera knew that he was wobbling a little bit. He knew what to target next. And with these knights, he didn't even need to go up to Imperial. And with the knights and the Schlachter, look at that. 65 knights are en route, fully upgraded for Castle Age. He knows that the next knockout or knockdown is going to be a knockout. And so Hera playing this about as great as he could have, styming, making sure that our Khmer could not get the economy he needed to pump out, like I said, one of the most ridiculously annoying and difficult units in the game to deal with head on, with their massive amount of HP, their crazy stackability, and once you get a death ball, it just goes out of control. And look at Hera. He's got army group to the south, he's got army group to the west, to the center, to the north, to the east even, and he's even added in some rams. So this castle is going to fall. And by the way, this is FreakinAndy's only castle. And so once that castle falls, there are no more ballista elephants for him. And that is all she wrote for our Khmer. So like I said, there might be some mind games. I suspect there are. But if there weren't, Hera basically following a very good game plan here of crippling the economy and then making sure the Khmer can't start pumping out their really powerful but really expensive units. Let's take a look at the stats. 44 light cav is not what you want to see as the Khmer. 97 knights, though, is what you want to see as the Poles. Peak APM, middle of the game. Peak APM, a little bit below his usual. Also, a few minutes later for our Pole. Let's take a look at the economy. Oh yeah, look at that. That's 16,000. That's a 50% bigger economy for our pole. He gets a lot of wood, a lot of food. I mean, in any other matchup, 1,900 extra gold wouldn't be the end of the world. But when you're the poles, what's 1,900 extra gold? 60 knights? That's ridiculous. And FreakinAndy here, not enough stone to mine, rather not enough stone mined for a castle. So basically, I'm assuming he had to buy the stone for all those, where are they? How many town centers did he have? He had his OG town center, and then 1, 2, 3 town centers and a castle is 950 stone. And so he had to buy how much? Yeah, about 400 stone. Not the greatest to do. Conversions 4 apiece, 8 buildings demolished. So those statistics pretty low. But I just absolutely love this game plan out of our pole. He took some damage back home, but the majority of the game, he was aggressing. He was killing villagers, making sure that even if FreakinAndy didn't lose a villager, the villagers were quivering in their boots, scared, stuck inside town centers, unable to get that 100 food, 80 gold that he desperately needed for these elephants. And I mean, look at this. Hera just wants to make sure, like I said, the Khmer, they can put a farm here. They can put a farm here. And so what does our pole do? He puts eyeballs all over the map. He sees the resources already. He's going to start getting them and gobbling them up. And that is the last thing you want the pole to do at 200 population to your 90, is to start gobbling up resources all over the map. And with the multiple army groups, with the game plan of step 1, cripple the economy. Step 2, attack, attack, attack. Like Tony Stark, I have a plan. It is attack. All right, I think that's the quote when he was, what was the quote in the Avengers when he was meeting Captain America for the first time and they were on the Quinjet? And Captain America said when they were about to take on Loki, and he said, we need a plan of attack. And then Tony says, I have a plan, attack. And then he jumps out the jet, and probably one of the coolest, I mean, Iron Man is also always super cool, but Schlachter hidden over here. I still suspect there's some kind of mind games, but let me know what you think in the comments below. Just an absolute clean, perfect synergistic pole game out of Hera, and FreakinAndy unfortunately just could not withstand the multiple raids, the endless villager kills, and even though he got out the more powerful unit, even though he got a mini death ball, let's call it a death pebble, it never really got to the level of where he needed it to be. And the stone, he just doesn't have it for another castle. So once this castle falls to these 2 rams, even though he's got, it looks like a few rams behind us to defend it, they can attack these rams if he wanted to. He just doesn't have the ability to put up a defense, especially not with another castle being placed right underneath his very nose. And not that he knows it, but with 65 knights heading his way, he was not an Imperial. Not that that would have helped anyway. But Hera, with the game plan of attack, 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 takes the W. But GG to both players. Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips and make sure to subscribe and enable notifications so that you're notified of my latest uploads.